Welcome back, go baby.
Hey, baby, welcome back. How you doing today? And welcome to the Island Shuffle.
Ding 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 do 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 do.
Ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding.
Ba-dum bum bum. Island shuffle, island
Ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding.
shuffle, island shuffle. My name is Bean
Ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding.
and his name is James. Every week we watch the show Lost in a random order.
I don't think those were the same pitch whatsoever. But you know, that was one for the fans. That's Roger. He's a listener from Ohio. He asked us to make a song, so that one's for you, Roger.
Shout out to Roger.
So the rest of you, if you want any special gifts or anything, just let us know, and you know how to find us.
Let us know, and we'll have them ripe and ready for you next time.
First
Next
thing.
time it becomes Christmas time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Crimbo.
This is a big one. This is our last episode before Jesus is born again.
Yes, he's coming back.
And you know what?
And with him goes the year.
Let's put him in a fucking hospital bed this time. Honestly, I think things would go a lot better.
Let's change it up. We keep giving birth to him in a manger.
And then when he's like
I.
a little bit over 30 years old,
Yes.
let's just not murder him.
Can we not murder him? Can we please stop murdering Jesus?
What if Jesus just lived in a country that didn't have the death penalty?
Imagine.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And where getting stoned meant fucking smoking weed.
Oh my God.
Because that's Canada, baby.
Canada-
Jesus, come on down to Canada. It's a little bit cold, but, you know, we got plenty of room at the inn for you.
plenty of room. Plenty of room for Jesus in Canada.
And
That's
getting stoned means smoking weed.
getting stoned means smoking weed, and there's no death penalty here.
You know what I don't like about the new legal weed in Canada?
What? Let me hear it.
They don't sell hash.
They don't?
Where's my hash?
It is weed, isn't it?
I want my hash.
You should go down to Ottawa and tell Justin.
Where's my hash, Justin? I want my hash. You expect me to not smoke hash? Jeepers creepers. Nothing better than a fucking bottle of Moose Light and a gram of hash.
This is my favorite platform that any party could run on. Is
Yeah.
like the idea of like, no, because almost certainly
Uh-huh.
there's an election coming up sometime soon,
Uh-huh.
and almost certainly people are gonna,
year and a half or something?
yeah, something like,
2019, I think there's an election, actually.
yeah, and people are definitely gonna be grilling Justin, and they're gonna be like, you didn't go far enough with the weed
Yeah.
law. And I would love to see someone be like, you should have gone farther.
Yeah,
Give me
where's
hash.
my hash?
Give me my hash.
Yeah. I mean, I think something like that'll happen eventually.
I hope.
Because
so.
right now you can't get edibles and stuff either. But why are we talking about this? This is the Island
Yeah,
Shuffle.
this is the Island Shuffle where we talk about the state of weed in Canada.
The state of weed in Canada.
We grill Krusty Justy on his weed policies.
Yeah, because give me my hash, Justin.
Come on.
I feel like that's literally just a flashback from me at 16 talking to my dealer, Justin. I was like, where's my hash, Justin?
Yeah, that's
Give me my hash.
yeah. What happens is during this conversation, I ask you like, why are you so focused on hash? And then you like look away while the camera zooms in. A whooshing noise swirls up, and then cut away.
Give me my hash, Justin. It's just like me with a hoodie that like a teenager would wear.
Yeah, it's
Me all in Blue Notes clothing going, Justin, give me my hash.
I'm out. What are you?
Yeah, I'm out.
You came here yesterday.
Justin, yeah, you came here yesterday. And me just like complaining so hard. 'Cause I bought hash the day before.
Every day. You're already done?
Every day, yeah.
How are you standing?
So I just have like so much hash just consumed, and the one thing that I'm concerned about is getting more hash.
Listen, as your dealer, I should probably say this, but I think you might have a problem about hash.
Give me my hash. Yeah, I got a problem. It's that I don't have any hash right now.
My family's visiting, please.
It's the middle of Thanksgiving dinner. Justin is a 16-year-old kid. His grandmother is at the table, and I'm like at the window of the dining room going, "Give me my hash! You stopped answering my texts, Justin."
I'm having my family, please. I have to set boundaries.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
My hash, Justin. Give me my hash. Okay.
Okay.
Ah,
All right.
that was fun.
That was fun. That was
Yeah.
a fun little diversion. We all love hash.
We all love hash.
Everybody loves it.
But today we're not here to talk about the hash. We're here to talk about season 1, episode 14 of the show Lost.
Where we're hoping that Michael can hash out his differences
Oh,
with his son Walt.
that would be so dope.
If they did it by smoking hash.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Aw.
Give it to me.
Give it to me, Justin. Justin, I tried to be nice. Give me the hash. Justin.
I love the idea of like, give me my hash. And you're like, I'm being reasonable voice.
Yeah.
And now it's a
I
threat.
tried being reasonable. I have a BB gun in one hand and duct tape in the other. Ah.
What are you gonna call that? Those are the weapons of someone who has a hash problem.
Yeah. They really are. I sold my baseball bat for hash.
That's all you have left. Those are
Yeah.
your only, along with hash. Those are your only remaining
Ah,
possessions.
my God. I kept the BB gun because I thought I might be able to find a way to smoke hash through it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be crazy to smoke weed from the barrel of a gun?
I'm thinking about it, and I don't like it.
Oh my
But
God.
I suppose it's far from the worst thing you could do with a
Yeah.
gun. Hmm.
Oh my God, that's crazy. All right. So Michael, his son is having issues.
Do you want to start with?
His
I mean,
issues,
that-
he doesn't have any goddamn hash. Ah.
Do you want to start with the like? I kind of want to start with the flashbacks this time because
Yeah,
I feel like
I agree.
there's
I
so
feel
much
like
to
it's-
unpack,
yeah.
and also like season 1 being like season 1 is always very substantial with them. So like,
Yeah, totally, because we're actually learning about the characters. It's not, the characters are not yet established.
But here we establish Michael. This is, by the way, our very last Michael episode.
Wow.
So-
And is this the very first Michael episode?
Yes.
Wow. Saved the first for last. How about that?
And that's what I call shuffle.
Shuffle. Welcome to the island shuffle. Ru-du-du-du.
Hey.
So yeah, flashbacks are crazy in this one.
Yeah, they're big.
He and a lady are shopping for a crib.
And the lady is pregnant, and they're both like, boy, we're going to have a baby, and we love each other.
Yeah, I love you and I love you too. And how about this baby that we're about to have?
This crib, this is the perfect crib for our baby. Oh my gosh, but it's way too expensive.
Who
but
cares?
nothing-
Our baby's perfect.
Our baby's
just like our
perfect.
love.
Our love is perfect, and our baby named Walt is perfect. Oh, you want? Excuse me? It's a Walt? Well, I thought I'd name him after my dad, you know. And it goes on like that.
Yeah.
They're a cute couple.
They established that they're having a baby and also that the lady doesn't want to marry Michael.
Yes, they established that the lady doesn't want to marry Michael, and they also established that Michael is an artist but also works in construction.
Yeah,
Like,
he's very poor.
yeah, they're like, I'm gonna take some work in construction for a while, just for a while, until my art picks up again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Next scene we see is a little cute baby Walt, very
little guy,
pinchable cheeks.
beautiful, bingeable cheeks, but around him is drama. It's drama-rama out here because Mom wants to leave.
Mom wants to leave, and you know what Michael says to that?
What?
You can leave, but you sure as heck are not taking my beautiful boy Walt.
And then the mother is like, yeah, I am.
Yes, I am. I have an opportunity in Amsterdam, Michael. I can provide for him. You can't really. Also, we're breaking up as well.
And we're not married.
We're not
She
married.
doesn't say we're breaking up, though. I feel like this is important to Michael's character and
Yes.
motivations. She says, we talked about taking a break before.
Yes, and Michael.
And that's
kinda,
pretty much what they say about that.
And Michael kind of says like, "Well, I didn't. You said it, but I didn't think you meant it."
Yeah.
Boy, yoy, yoy.
And she's like, now I'm moving to Amsterdam because I got a great job there. And I'm taking the boy with me, and also I'm going to Amsterdam because you can get hash there.
That's true.
That is true. I mean, it's not just a coincidence. It's also the numbers, I think, had something to do with that one.
Classic numbers at it again.
And that's that segment, right?
That's effectively that, yeah. The next segment we get, I think, is
the payphone.
The payphone. Michael calling Susan on the payphone.
Uh-huh.
And Susan's kind of she's kind of being like, I want to see my boy. Why won't you like bring my boy back? Why don't you let me see my boy? And Susan's kind of just like, well, now's just not a good time. And there's another voice on the other end of the line as well. Michael's like, who's that?
Who's that?
I met someone, Michael. His name is Brian. And he's the one also who hired me.
Yeah.
And Michael's like, well, now I'm really pickled.
I'm coming to Amsterdam. And she says, no, we're broken up.
We're broken up, and I'm dating a new man. And Michael says, I attack with that. I'm not coming for you. I'm coming for my beautiful son.
Uh-huh.
And he storms directly into oncoming traffic.
Yeah, a car hits him. It was really dumb on Michael's part. You shouldn't walk into moving cars.
Frankly, the crosswalk was less than half a block away.
Yeah.
This is reckless behavior.
I heard recently that if you get hit by a car, you're like 80% more likely to get hit by a car again. Same with things like being stabbed.
Is that where would a fact like that come from?
I heard it secondhand, but I think it relates not so much to like insane probabilities like happening to you. It's more like if you get hit by a car, you're more careless than other people.
Yeah.
So you're more likely to get hit by a car again just by the fact that you put yourself in. Most people don't get hit by a car the one time.
Yes.
And the amount of people who get hit by cars just like might do it more than once.
Yes. Okay. That
Same with
makes
getting
sense.
stabbed. It's like if you get stabbed, you're like 400% more likely to get stabbed again.
This makes sense to me. This also clocks with what we know of Michael, which is that he is belligerent.
Yeah.
He's stubborn.
It says that
and
like you
bullheaded.
have poor judgment and yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would believe that Michael would. Heck, Michael does get into a car accident again, except deliberately.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does. Also, he crashes a plane,
Mhm.
which I mean, the stats didn't talk about that one, but they
No.
must be related.
It's probably related. Everything's related. Numbers, you know.
In numbers,
It-
yeah.
Think about the numbers and think about the hash.
You think about the hash and think about the hatch.
Yes.
The hatch full of hash.
The hatch full of hatch.
Do you think that's what originally they were like? We got to get to the hatch, but everyone thought they were saying hash, and
Yeah,
that's why they
and
worked so
that's
hard.
That's why they were so excited.
If it was just a hash, no one would give a shit.
Exactly. It's just it's a door in the ground.
Yeah.
I've seen a door before. Big freaking
Yeah,
what?
most are on walls, but this one's in the ground. Sort of cool. You know, would make it way cooler if I was fucking stoned right now.
If you know, you couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it better myself.
No.
Doors can't get you stoned.
Doors can't get you stoned, but nothing better than getting stoned and listening to the Doors.
Well,
Am I right, everyone? Hey,
This is-
listeners, high five.
This is our #1 pro stoner episode.
yeah, Prona.
even somehow even more pro stoner than the day we did the one we recorded on the day that weed was actually legalized.
Yeah, totally. Because I hadn't smoked weed until weed was legalized, and now I smoke it every day.
Every day. Thanks, Justin.
Every second of every day.
Every second of every day, and now I just want even fiercer highs.
Totally. Give me a worse high.
Give me a much more severe and worse high, please.
I've moved from weed to hash already. What's next?
Probably.
Will I be smoking ecstasy?
You're gonna be smoking hash 2, the
I'm
sequel.
going to be smoking hash 2.0, which is really just you take a hash brick and a weed nug and you smash them together.
Doesn't seem effective.
Like-
I'm no chemist.
Gets you super stoned.
Oh.
And then-
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Then Justin Trudeau comes out and high fives you and lets you hit his bong.
Do you think Justin Trudeau has a bong?
Yes, obviously.
I hate to keep talking about this, but I always think about what is Justin Trudeau's bong.
He's a bit of a bong lord. It's giant. 6 feet tall.
He has like a homemade one at home that's like made of a big 2-liter and the little one.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one.
He only smokes gravity bongs.
He only smokes gravity bongs. I regret to inform you that our fearless leader
Yeah.
only smokes gravity.
I'm happy to
bongs.
inform you of that.
Well, I mean, different strokes.
Different strokes for different tokes.
Tokes. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
It was there. Someone was going to find it.
Oh man, weed funny.
But so Michael gets hit by a car.
Michael gets hit by a car.
Then he goes to the hospital.
As he should.
Yeah.
This is responsible of him. He gets hit by the car and then gets up, dusts himself off, and says, "Well, gotta go see the doctor about this
yeah,
one."
I guess this is another trip to the hospital for old Michael.
Once again, notorious hospital goer
Yeah.
Michael. So he's drawing a little doodle for his son Walt.
Yeah.
And it's a Frankenstein with a cake or
Yeah.
something. And the nurse and him have a cute little chat about it.
Yeah.
And who's standing at the doorway? But Susan.
Susan.
Not Susan Sarandon. Susan
No.
Michael's ex-lover.
Susan Magoosin is her last name, I believe.
That is true. Her canonical last name is Susan Magoosin.
Yeah, which was a weird call on the show's part, but also it sort of suits her. You see her and you're like, oh, Mrs. Magoosin.
Mrs. Magoosin at it again. Oh my gosh. Always stealing sons.
Always stealing sons. And then Michael's like, sup? And she's like, hey, can we talk?
And they talk. And what they talk about is a couple things. They kind of catch up a bit. And they say, I'm paying up for all your medical bills. Michael is immediately like, what's this about?
Yeah, what's the catch
What's the
here?
catch? The catch is Susan is marrying Brian.
Yeah.
And and also Brian wants custody of Walt.
Not even wants to adopt Walt.
Yes.
Wants Michael to give up his title as father
Mm-hmm.
and legal status as father of the child.
Yes.
And give it to Brian,
Yes.
who he's never met, I guess.
Who he's never met, but as far as he knows, seems like an upstanding fellow, has a job,
Yeah.
same job as the same caliber as Susan,
Hire.
higher even.
He's her boss.
Yes.
Or at least he hired her.
Yes. And Michael's very reluctant, but Susan pulls the old, why are you holding on to this? Why are you holding on to custody of Walt? You haven't seen him in 2 years, and are you holding on to it for Walt, or are you holding on to it for yourself? Which is not necessarily an invalid point, but also...
I don't think it's necessarily a great point,
No, I don't think
Whenever
so.
it's like, well, you sort of moved him.
You moved him. You took him
then
from
told me not to see him.
Yeah,
You took him away.
yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, there's no, like, Michael is a pretty generally unsympathetic character,
Uh-huh.
but like, I was gonna say they don't do a good job of it. They do a very bad job of making Susan, who through all scenes is like very like
She seems very competent and smart and nice and normal.
very patient,
Yeah.
very like reasonable.
But then they just make her have these wild motivations that
Yeah.
like I haven't really heard of people having, especially people who like seem so reasonable and
Yeah, she's very reasonable, except for the fact that she absolutely wants to take Walt.
yeah, she really doesn't want Michael to be in Walt's life for a reason that
The only reason we ever really the only reason that's explicitly said is she can provide for Walt.
yeah, she has more money than Michael.
Michael can't really support
Yeah.
Walt. And like,
Okay.
but like you can still
You could still see or talk to the child,
yes,
perhaps.
you're still allowed to like have a you can have a long distance relationship with Walt. You can like.
Because I mean, even when
Mhm.
he's on the payphone, which is like I guess a week or two before their meeting,
Yes.
he's asking like, "Can I talk to Walt?"
Mhm.
Like, "Can I talk to Walt?" And she's like, "No, maybe tomorrow," sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then she comes 2 weeks later and she's like, "Well, you never see him, you never talk to him," and it's like, yeah,
Apparently, Michael's trying to constantly call.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
So and it sucks because it's like, it makes no sense.
it makes no sense,
and
like,
it just makes the lady mean for no reason.
it makes the lady mean for zero reason is the ultimate thing.
Because it's like it could be a dramatic situation and you could actually say something about like parental rights or about like the difficulty of like being in a relationship like
Mhm.
this and like the loss of a son and
Yeah.
things like that.
And-
But they don't say anything because they fuck it up so hard.
Yeah, it's just all like there's like it's almost there. There's like
Yeah.
moments where you can see like shades of something
Yeah.
powerful. But like it's so like built on a fucked up premise that
Yeah.
it just kind of all doesn't really
Yeah,
resonate
it just
at all.
doesn't quite work.
No, not at all. And adding to that, why do they want to adopt Walt?
Yeah.
Why can't Brian just be like a stepdad?
Totally,
That's a thing people
exactly,
are. That's a thing that
exactly.
happens.
That happens every day.
Every single day that happens.
Every single day someone becomes a step parent to a child.
yeah.
And they don't legally adopt the child.
Yes.
They don't remove the parental aspect of like the human being who the child is biologically related to.
No.
They just are a step parent.
Yes. And again, this would all like Susan would seem reasonable if like Michael had at all been like any kind of a shitty dad.
Yeah, had been like, I don't want to see the kid.
I don't want to see the
care
kid.
about
I'm
the
not ready to be a
kid."
father.
Yeah.
We're like if their relationship was at all on the rocks.
But Michael really wants to be involved in this kid's life.
Yes. It's so completely it's ridiculous. And it gets more ridiculous.
Yeah.
And as we'll see. We get one flashback from Walt's perspective.
Yep.
Where Walt is hanging out with Brian and Susan over in Australia, and they're kind of just chatting, and Walt is kind of talking at nobody about like his school project and birds, and he's like, I picked this bird. I like this bird a lot. Hey, Brian, look at this bird, Brian, check it out. Brian, you're not looking. Brian, you're not looking. Brian, you're not looking.
You're not looking.
Pew! And then they go, "Q. What was that?" And guess what it was?
It was the bird.
It was the bird.
The bird that he was like
He-
knocked into their window and fucking died.
And died. And Walt is just like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I guess I better go back to looking at the picture.
And Brian looks terrified of Walt.
Brian
And
is
also
scared.
his mom's like, I have a headache.
Yeah, that also happens. Yeah, while Walt is like, Brian, you're not looking. Susan's like, I don't feel so good.
And then the next flashback we get, the mom is dead.
The mom is dead. Brian shows up at Michael's door and says, hi, I'm Brian. Susan's dead.
Yeah. And then he's like, Susan said she wanted you to take Walt.
Mm-hmm. And Walt and Michael's like, yo, it's been 9 years.
I'm not the kid's parent anymore.
I'm
you
like-
guys like strong-armed me into giving up my parental rights.
To you.
To you.
You're
his father.
You're his father now.
Yeah.
Says the law.
Yeah. And he's like, where's Walt? And the dad's like, oh, he's with his nanny in Australia. And Michael is rightly like, so his mom died fucking yesterday. And you just left?
And Brian's excuse is like, but
I don't know how to be a dad.
I'm not. Susan wanted me to adopt him, but I'm not ready to be a dad.
I
It's
didn't
just
want to
like,
be a daddy.
You've been a dad for like 9
You
years.
literally raised him.
You
Yeah.
raised him.
And this is what's so fucking crazy is Brian would have entered Walt's life when he was 2,
Yes.
3 maybe,
Yes.
and he is Walt's legal son.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking Walt still calls him Brian.
Yes.
He's not. It's like
For all intents and purposes, Walt was raised by Brian.
That is his dad.
Yeah.
Legally, socially, in
Yeah.
every aspect. I mean, Walt later sees Michael and he doesn't know who he is. His
Yes.
dad is Brian, but he calls him Brian because they did such a shitty job of raising the kid, I guess. It sucks that like the mom seems so cool and nice whenever you see her, but then all the other details they give are just like, this
Yeah.
lady is like an awful mother
It doesn't
who is
even make
mean
sense.
for no reason.
And here's another like kicker to it is during this conversation we're meant to believe that Brian like look, Brian clearly a faulty man.
Yeah.
Faulty dad in
Yeah.
this moment.
The fault in our dads.
The fault in our dads lies among Brian.
Uh-huh.
But in his monologue, he says basically like I didn't really want to adopt Walt,
Uh-huh.
but I did it anyway. She kind of strong-armed me into doing it, and I ended up agreeing to it because I loved Susan.
So it's like, what was she doing?
She was like going so hard to keep. Why not just like
one of the
that-
people wants to be the dad
Yeah.
and can continue to do that in like a reduced capacity.
Yes.
That's the great, yeah.
And Brian doesn't.
And Brian doesn't want to be the dad.
Apparently
also,
never
Brian, for all intents and purposes, seems like a huge dick.
Yeah.
He seems awful.
He seems bad.
Yeah.
The way the scene wraps up is
Also, Brian says, "Oh,
yes.
you go on."
that's exactly
Yeah.
it. Is Michael gets riled up and he's like, "You're a shitty dad. Fuck you. Go to hell."
Uh-huh.
And Brian says, "Well, it's not just that I'm a shitty dad. When Walt's around, things happen.
Things happen.
He's
different.
somehow. He's somehow different." And Michael's just like that. Everything else with everything else today, I don't even really know how to process that.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna end the scene there.
And then The next scene,
Mm.
Michael goes to Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and he's in Walt's living room.
Yes.
He's like, "Hey, Walt, I'm your daddy,
and
and Brian doesn't want you anymore, and now I'm your father."
now I'm your dad. And my
Walt is like, "Weird, dude."
weird day. Weird, rough
Fucking
couple
weird.
days for me.
Yeah. And then
The psychic child who loved his parents and now lost both of them and now has a new dad.
totally a new dad who was the original dad, but
Yes.
then lost the job for no. That was a wrongful firing, if you ask me. I think that's the court that Michael should go to. He's
Yes.
like, "What did I do to be terminated?"
And the judge is going to be like, I can't make heads or tails of this.
Yeah, it seems like this lady really doesn't want you to be the dad, but doesn't have an established reason.
Was Michael like a bad dad at all? Was he
Yeah.
mean to you?
I feel like they should have just made him mean or something.
Yeah, he's unlikable enough, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it
He is
would-
unlikable enough
Yeah.
that he doesn't need to be like. It's like it can be his fault that he lost Walt.
Yeah, and then that gives him something to overcome. It gives a
Exactly.
lot of like weight to their reunion.
Whereas the way it's scripted, he's just the victim of this insane situation
Yeah.
that is orchestrated by this lady who should be like a cool and fine lady,
Yeah.
but for some reason is a grossly irresponsible parent
Yeah.
in the weirdest possible way.
It's bizarre. I remember back in the day being like deeply moved by this because I
Uh-huh.
didn't have any sense of how how
Uh-huh.
parents worked, I guess. I think
or
that's
like,
what it was.
yeah, or like how the situation could go otherwise or something.
Exactly. Yeah. I just kind of like bought what it was saying and I was like, "Man, this really is rough for Michael, huh?" And Walt, what a tragedy. And then I watched it today and thought about it for longer than a second.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It's like,
what the
what?
hell is all this?
What are they doing?
What are they doing?
What happened to the writer's parents? Like, they're like, yeah, so there's my dad, and then mom moved away. I don't know. I guess she got a job or something, and then she met this guy, and then dad was like, well, can I still be the dad? And my mom was like, no, fuck no. And then she died, and my new dad didn't want me anymore, so they said, oh, bring the old dad back in.
Also, a bird died one
My
time.
bird died one time. I was different.
I was different.
It was like Walt would have the best memoirs in the world.
Truly.
Because it would just be like, what is going on here?
It's really something. That's a wrap on Michael's backstories.
Yeah.
So let's take a wrap on Michael's front stories.
Front stories.
What
Um,
happened?
He's trying to find his son.
He's trying to find his son. Where's his son? Where's his little boy at?
Where's Walt?
Where's Walt?
Where's
His
Walt?
classic Michael catchphrase is looking for his boy, but it's not as urgent this time. He's just wondering where he is.
Yeah, he just hasn't seen him in a bit.
And where is he? Playing
Throwing
with knives.
Yeah, he's with Locke and Boone playing with knives in the woods.
Having fun with a knife. He throws
Locke
a knife.
and Boone are the bad boys in this thing, and it's so funny.
It's super duper
They
funny.
just are bad boys.
They are incredibly bad.
They hang out in the woods and play with knives, and that's all you see them doing.
And they teach a kid how to
They
throw a
take
knife.
a 10-year-old kid, and they're like, hey, want to play with knives with us? It's like Walt and Boone just are 14 years old.
It's really, really something how 14 they are.
Yeah.
They are incredibly 14. Walt throws the knife, misses, and then they're like, no problem, try again.
Yeah.
And he does it perfectly, lands right in the tree. And,
And then
everybody's
Michael
like,
comes, and he's like,
this is
Yeah.
something no parent wants to see.
yeah. And then he takes the knife, and he's like, sort of waving it in Locke's direction. So
Yes.
I understand the
Mhm.
danger of that
Yes.
situation.
He does escalate it quite a bit.
And then Boone comes over and tackles him and holds the knife to Michael's throat.
Yes. What an escalation.
Yeah.
Boone.
Boom.
Boone, you're
Boom
trouble.
goes the dynamite. You know
Boone
that
does
one?
go the dynamite.
Boom goes the dynamite.
He does.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. He sure does.
And then Michael gets it back or something, or Locke gets it.
Yeah, they like. I think Locke kind of like disarms the whole situation, and it's just like Michael's like, stay away from my son. Don't talk to my son. I also want to mention that like before all this shit went down, Michael was like, Walt, take Vincent and go back to the caves.
Yeah.
And then like Walt doesn't witness any of
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Walt doesn't
see the knife
He
fight.
doesn't see the knife fight.
The literal knife
The
fight.
knife fight that happens among grown ass adults.
Yeah.
And then Locke is kind of like, all right, you got it. I won't see your son anymore. It's fine. What's next? What's next in the Michael Walt versus? Oh, I remember what it is. This is a very good A very good scene. Saeed, Jack,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Shannon are like sorting out maps. They're
Yeah.
trying to be like, well, I was interpreting this map and I thought it was this thing, but it was another thing. And Michael just strolls up and is like, here we go. These guys are. What are you guys doing? You're exploring
doing?
something. You got a map here.
Put
What?
that away. This sucks.
This sucks, and you guys are all dumbasses.
We gotta get off this island.
Don't you guys know we've got to get off in this island and go
What you
home?
trying to do? Looking at maps.
Looking at maps, trying to figure out the island. Real dumbass hours over here. What we've got to do is get off of the island, not into the island.
Yeah.
And I've got just the plan. We're gonna build a raft.
And everyone's like,
We've got
No.
no thanks. And he says, well, my son will help me. Come on, Walt. Come help me look through some fuselage and go for a raft. And
Walt does.
Walt does, but Walt hates to do it.
Yeah, Walt doesn't like his dad.
Oh, here's something. Walt is also reading a comic book in Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
And Walt comes on, and Michael comes along and is like, you don't read Spanish. What's happening? This is weird. And
Yeah.
Walt's just like, I like the pictures. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Michael's like, fuck you, Walt.
Mhm.
I'm fucking taking you to the broken plane, and we're trying to find frames. And Walt's like, a frame for what? And Michael's like, I'm not going to tell you.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm a grumpy dad, and I'm bad at it.
I'm mad. I just lost a knife fight.
I just lost a knife fight. I'm going to take it out on this fuselage.
Yeah. And they do.
They
They
do.
look around for stuff.
They look around
It's
for stuff. They're
interesting.
sorting it into piles, and
Yeah.
Walt eventually goes like, I'm going to take a break, go grab some water.
Yeah.
Goes to chat with Mr. Locke, who's
Yeah.
sitting down, and Locke is just kind of like, listen, kid, you should, I know you think I'm a cool guy, but your dad doesn't want us hanging out anymore, and
We can't hang out.
we can't hang out anymore, and I'm trying to respect his wishes, and you should respect him. He's your dad after all.
Yeah.
And Walt's like, screw that. He's a real stick in the mud.
I hate my dad.
I hate my daddy. And Michael comes up, and boy,
He flips his shit.
Locke says, I was just explaining to Walt that I don't want to talk to him anymore. And Walt is also trying to be like, no, it's not Locke's fault.
Yeah.
And Michael is like, shut up, Walt. First of all. Second of all, I'm going to kill you, Locke,
He
if you
literally
ever talk
threatens to murder John
to
Locke,
me. He threatens to murder John Locke unsubtly.
which I
Openly.
would love to see.
In front of people.
In
People
front of
are here.
people, yeah.
People are here, and he
He
says,
says, if I ever catch you talking to my kid again, I will kill you.
Michael.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael. Could you not?
Could you not? Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to do this, Michael.
What an escalation.
Yeah.
Michael, yeah. We talk about Michael being unlikable.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If he was doing this sort of thing, I could understand the lady taking his fucking kid away, but yeah. He's not in a good place, Michael.
No, clearly not. And to this end, Locke kind of says all right, walks off. And Walt cusses Michael out. Walt says
He's like
that was we're twisted.
yeah.
You just threatened to kill that
You
man.
went crazy, Dad.
You threatened to kill that guy who's my friend, teaching me cool knife stuff. What are you teaching me? You're not even my real dad, and you're just teaching me how to sort through junk.
And then Michael takes Walt's comic book and throws it in the fire.
And an image of a polar bear is visible burning.
Oh yeah,
And-
the polar bear.
And Walt says, fuck you, Dad, I'm out of here.
I'm running away with my dog.
I'm running away with my dog.
And he does.
He does. And sure enough, Michael doesn't realize this at first.
Yeah.
It's delivered to him by Hurley.
Hurley's like, hey, your kid's gone.
And Michael's like, well, I know where he is. Goes right up to Locke and Boone, who are just sitting in the woods sharpening
Looking at
knives.
knives. Yeah, they are the bad boys.
They are so bad they can't get enough of
They
knives.
just hang out with their knives.
They have no friends and only knives.
It's so incredible. It's so good. You know they smoke hash.
They smoke hash off of the knife,
Off
probably.
of the knife. They do hot knives.
They do hot knives, and it's bad.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a good.
so good it's bad.
Michael is
It's
right.
so bad it's good.
Michael is right to not want Walt near these,
Yeah.
frankly, degenerates.
They are degenerates.
And yet, he arrives and he's ready to kill Locke, and Locke says, "Look around, buddy. Walt isn't here.
I don't see you, kid, man.
But listen,
Hey.
listen. I may be a degenerate who loves to smoke hash off of a knife, but I do care about your boy. and we better find your boy together.
Let's go find your boy.
And so
Michael.
reluctantly they agree to go find the boy.
And then they go and they walk around,
Mhm.
and then they see Vincent's leash.
And they're like, uh-oh.
Then they follow the sounds,
Mm-hmm.
and Walt is in the vines.
Walt is stuck in the vines, and who's assaulting him in the vines?
Who but a polar bear?
What?
A polar bear is killing Walt.
A polar bear is killing Walt.
No, Walt is like in the middle of this very viney tree.
Yeah.
And the polar bear just cannot, for the life of him, figure out vines.
No, I mean, honestly, I get it. Like,
There's a couple like inch thick vines separating Walt and the polar bear.
I mean, the polar bear can't figure out vines, but like, I get it. It's a lot. You got to pack a lot into 6 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. If you can find a way to make that financially viable, might come back.
If only.
R.I.P. Vine.
Rip it and dip it.
Rip it and dip it, old viney vine.
Old
Do
viney
you ever see
vine.
the one Jesus Take the Wheel?
Yes, it's good.
Yeah,
It's good. It's good. There's some good vines.
Yeah, I liked vines.
Vines were pretty funny.
Yeah.
At least the ones that weren't like openly racist,
Totally. Yeah, there
Which-
were those
which-
too.
which you could say about most anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. But the polar bear's going at him.
Polar bears going at him, can't figure out vines, and they have to work together to figure out how to
Uh-huh.
get him. And what they do is they decide we're gonna climb this tree, wrangle up some vines of our own, and use them to lower ourselves down through the vines and get Walt out to safety. And together, Locke and Michael rescue Walt this
Yeah,
way.
it's sort of cool. They stabbed the polar bear a couple times. and
Michael gives Walt a knife, and so he's like,
so he's just as bad as Locke at this point.
exactly. This is, I think, Michael kind of admitting, like, all right, it's time for it's cool for my son to use a knife.
Yeah,
And
knives are cool again.
And knives are cool, and to this end, Walt stabs the polar bear.
Yeah.
He stabs him right in the hand.
Then Michael comes down and he
Mm.
sends Walt up on the rope, and then he's like, "That looked fun." So he stabs the polar bear too.
it's true. They both love to stab.
They stab. They're stabbers.
It's kind of like they're kind of estranged, and it's kind of unsure. Will they be able to get along like this? But they both love to stab.
The stabbing brings them together.
The stabbing brings them together closer than ever, closer
Yeah.
than they've ever been. And so they rescue Michael, and that's the ball game. I think.
That's their story.
There's one more scene that we get with Michael and Walt.
Uh-huh.
They're kind of like hugging.
Oh, yeah.
They're hugging at the time, and they're just like, I'm sorry. Like Walt is like, I'm sorry I left, and Michael's like, no, it's okay. I'm just glad you're okay. It's fine. And Locke's there, and Michael isn't threatening to kill him. So Locke is. Here's what I like about Locke is during the Locke through this whole episode is like during the knife fight scene. Locke is being like. He's like calling Michael out for being a shitty dad. He's like openly being like, well, it's actually cool for him to play with knives. You should have seen the cool thing he did before. I think he should be allowed to realize his full potential, and you just don't understand that.
Yeah.
And so, like, Locke is trying to be Walt's
He's
dad.
trying to steal Walt.
And so you can understand why Michael would be averse to
Yeah.
that. He's been through this whole
Locke
ordeal.
was pretty nuts in that scene.
He was pretty wild. But then in this scene, he just, when they're hugging and they're being like, hey, we're good, it's fine, we're safe, Locke just kind of looks down and smirks and is like, one step closer to being the real dad.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's sweet.
It's sweet. It's so sweet.
And Michael opens up a box
Yes.
that is all of these like letters and
Mhm.
stuff that he had sent to Walt.
Yes.
That Walt's mom just like hid away and never
Yes.
showed Walt. Which again was just another piece of the like, what the fuck was
Why?
Walt's mom doing?
Why would you try to conceal her, like, it just
Sends him
why?
like birthday cards and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I don't know why she was so insistent on cutting Michael out of Walt's life.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It makes none percent sense.
No.
Anyways, that's Michael's story, and honestly, the flashbacks obviously we have problems with, but Michael's incredibly unlikable as he often is.
Yeah.
He's like belligerent and stubborn and like just escalates. Like, even in situations where it's like, you're right to be concerned that your kid is playing with knives, but maybe you shouldn't threaten Locke with a knife yourself.
It's the death threat thing that
Yeah.
really. I was with you till you started to like pretend you
Mm.
were about to murder another
Yeah.
human.
But he does at least overcome these things in the end, which is more than you can say for most Michael episodes.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
So it's fine.
which is fine.
Then we get minimal other story.
Not a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
There's, I think, only one other major like side plot,
Oh yeah,
and it's about Charlie hanging out. So Claire's been kidnapped.
Claire's gone.
Charlie's upset, and Charlie is trying to keep track of Claire's stuff while she's gone. And Charlie finds Claire's diary. Charlie's looking for Claire's diary.
Yeah, he's like, "Where's Claire's diary? I know
Mm.
she had it. It's usually in like this pocket in her bag."
And turns out Sawyer has it.
Yeah, he stole it.
Sawyer stole it for some reason
Then he gives it back.
after a like brief tussle.
Yeah.
I think Charlie punches him, and then Sawyer punches him back.
Uh-huh.
And then Kate's like, "Hey, hey, hey!" And then Sawyer's like, "Whatever, take it. I don't care." Why did
Yeah.
Sawyer want it in the first
I
place?
don't know. That was a weird one.
Very weird, like.
I guess because they needed to create drama.
Exactly, right? That's all it is.
Yeah.
And Sawyer's a good, at this point, Sawyer's a good, just like,
He's a scapegoat.
he's a good, just like, guy to be shitty.
He's not trustworthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's far from the protagonist yet.
Yeah, he's not the protagonist yet.
He'll get there.
Yeah, he will one day.
LaFleur. I love to hear that sound. LaFleur.
LaFleur.
The flower. And Charlie gets the diary back and says, like, it does a funny like, "Oh, I want to peek at it, but I can't. I must put it
Oh, no.
aside. I
That
must
would be bad.
I mustn't look. What a terrible. Oh, but just one little peek. Oh dear, I must. Oh, but I
Oh,
can't.
no, I shouldn't.
She's-
Don't know.
She's my dear friend,
Yeah.
and maybe even more than a friend, and she's been kidnapped by who knows whomst.
But I must look at it.
Oh, the curiosity gets the better of me, and oh, geez, I better put it away and get up and walk away. And it's a lot of
It's a weird scene.
It's like a
very comical.
it's very like
it's
very
like they're playing up the comedy.
a lot of like physical comedy from
Yeah.
Dominic Monaghan, which
It was not a good call in my opinion.
no, it's like a funny violation of your kidnapped friend's privacy.
Yeah.
That's
But
what
then he eventually does open.
he eventually does, and he's like twirling his hair while he's reading
Yeah.
it, and that shot is funny.
It's
That is a
cute.
very funny shot.
And then Claire in the diary is like, "Oh, I like Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
He makes me feel safe."
And Charlie's like, "Ooh, baby."
Yeah, but then Charlie reads something, and he's like, "Oh, I must talk to the others."
Mm-hmm. And what is it again?
I don't think we see.
No, it's something. We do see it.
Oh, I
Oh,
don't know.
it's he's like, Claire. He basically says like, check it out. Claire said she had a dream about a black rock, and then Side's like, black rock. That French lady, Rousseau, said something about a black rock. Maybe that's where Claire got kidnapped. And they're all kind of like, well, I don't know what this means. And then I think that's the end of the episode. No, it isn't.
Oh, and then people are in the woods
Yes.
doing something.
Locke and Boone are trying to find Vincent. But who do they find?
Claire.
Claire. Boop, 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 boop,
That's
doo.
it.
That's the episode. Far from a bad episode.
No, it was fine.
It was a perfectly fine episode.
This is the best Michael ever gets.
Definitely the best Michael episode, which is, not saying much, but
No.
overall, a watchable one.
You know what, though? I was left with a couple questions.
Oh, really? You
yeah,
don't
after watching
say.
all that, I have a couple questions, and I
Yeah.
was wondering if you have some answers.
You know what? I think I'm going to try to come up with some answers. As long as these questions and answers are both coming from lostpedia.wikia.org.
Yes, they are both coming from lostpedia.fandom.com.
Okay, thank the Lord.
Okay, well, I have a couple questions. First, what is the nature and the significance of Walt being different and special?
So this is famously like a thing that they kind of never really bring up again, except for like in extracurricular things. Like I think there's some like weird like DVD extra things that kind of like explain what it is. I forget what it is.
That's an awful way to explain something.
It's not good. Because Walt famously, this first season of Lost takes place over like let's say a month, and then Walt actor is famously a child who is in puberty.
Oh, he grows. Yeah.
So then they have to write him out of the show because it's not possible.
Oh, that makes sense.
And then they're like, "Whoops, what do we do?"
Well, do you want to know the answer?
Yes, please.
Some individuals, like Walt, naturally possess psychic and paranormal gifts and a spiritual connection and inclination to the island.
Yes.
These individuals seem to have a natural predisposition for leadership and work on the island.
Yeah, Walt, the famous leader.
Yeah, the famous leader. It's his natural predisposition.
Remember when Walt did all of the leading?
Yeah, that time he got attacked by a fucking polar bear.
He did stab the polar bear, which did incite Michael to
Yeah,
stab the
so
polar
he's a
bear.
leader.
Yeah, he's
And
the
he
ultimate
hung out
leader.
with Locke, which incited other people.
Do you remember that famous scene where everybody, it's kind of early and everybody's kind of like not sure whether they should leave the beach, stay in the caves, or what are they going to do?
Yeah.
And Walt kind of gets up and gathers everybody around and says,
Listen.
if we don't live together, we're going to die alone.
Yeah,
I'm in
exactly.
charge.
Oh my god. It's weird. So, a new question.
Yes.
What is the nature of Claire's dream about the Black Rock?
Oh, shit. That I genuinely don't remember.
Ambiguous.
Yeah.
It may have just been an ordinary dream which coincidentally alerted Saeed to the meaning of the triangle on the map.
You know,
Could be.
Seems like that could have been it. Sure.
It may have been influenced by the monster in its process of claiming Claire, which would come into fruition later. It seems that a black rock was specifically symbolic for the man in black.
Oh, sure.
So that sucks.
Okay. Yeah. You play the hand you're dealt. I get it, Lostpedia. I get it.
How did Claire find her way back to the survivors?
We actually know this. She was guided by Danielle or something? Yeah.
Rousseau knocked her out and left her close to the survivors region.
Yes, that's right.
Then we have one under self-implied.
Oh, baby.
How did Walt draw the bird and the bear towards him?
By being a psychic power, man.
Through his psychic ability.
Yeah, man.
So that's pretty good.
Imagine
Lostpedia, you did it again.
You did it. I would just have loved. I know that it was such an unsustainable thing, but imagine the finale of Lost is like Walt having a psychic power battle with Locke or something like that.
Yes.
Like that's that real shit.
Oh, that would be cool because they were friends.
They were friends and now they're enemies.
Yeah.
What a
frenemies.
Frenemies. That's listen. That's an episode of Lost.
Yeah.
Another one for the books, as far as I'm concerned.
Do you want to watch another one?
I would love to. You know what? I think I've had enough Lost. I don't think I'll be ready to watch Lost again until the year 2019.
I will. Let's take a year off.
Let's take a year off. Let's take the rest of the year off.
See you next year.
See you next year.
Yeah.
Funny.
So I went to random.org. I put in 1 to 60 and I got 46.
46. We're talking pretty late game, huh? Ooh, 46.
Season
This
5?
is season 5, episode 12. Dead is Dead. And my friend, it's a Ben episode.
Oh, cool.
It's gonna be, if memory serves, this one's kind of it's a doozy.
It's a doozy.
Bit of a doozy.
I love that.
I'm ready for it.
I'll take the year to prep. You get more hash.
Yeah, I'd love to get more hash. I hope you guys take this holiday season as an opportunity to really stock up on hash.
Yeah.
So in actuality, this episode comes out on, I want to say the 19th-ish, week of the 19th.
Something like that.
We're going to be absent for another 2 weeks. We know we just came back, but it's holiday season, and we're both going to be away for the holidays.
Yeah.
So it just kind of be like that.
We gotta go. The 20th it comes out.
This comes out on the 20th, and so our next episode will be on January the 9th, I believe. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, actually. January 10th.
Le 10.
Yes,
Ouais.
le 10e de janvier.
Le 10e de janvier, ouais.
By the way. And so, yeah, you won't see us again for 2 weeks, so we want to wish you a happy holidays and a merry holidays. And we hope that you have a good holidays.
Yeah.
And we also hope that you have a great holiday season.
And happy holidays to everybody.
Yes,
And I hope your holidays are good.
of course. So I've been Bean. You can follow me on Twitter at Barrier Trio.
I've been James. Look me up on James Brown Not Space.
Yes, and you can follow the show at facebook.com/islandshuffle. Sorry, facebook.com/The Island Shuffle. Twitter at Island Shuffle.
Island Shuffle.
And we are hosted on Noisepace.xyz, the podcast network created and starring my friend Matt. Many good shows there. Thank you, first of all, for Matt for hosting us, and also check out many of the other shows. They're all very, very good stuff. A lot of funny stuff, and it's all good. And one more thing. If you like us, why don't you go ahead and give us a 5-star rating on the old iTunes if you're so inclined? Why the heck not?
You would like that, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't you like to
for
do
Christmas this year, all I want is a 5-star rating on iTunes.
That's all I want for Christmas
all
this
I
year.
want too.
All I want for Christmas is a 5-star rating on iTunes. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
I like that.
That one goes out to Daniel in Tennessee.
I like that we bookended this with 2 Christmas carols that were requested by 2 Americans.
By men in America.
Thanks, American men.